Dear IIIV President, dear Executive Director of the IIIV, dear IIIV elected directors, dear IIIV members, committee members, dear ICSV organizing committee members, distinguished plenary speakers, dear theme area and session chairs, dear presenters, dear colleagues and friends, dear volunteers, thank you for being here. We are here tonight for the Gala Banquet of the 26th International Congress on Sound and Vibration. And I'm so happy you had your first full meal. We'll be soon moving to the dessert. We had to cut a little bit on the budget so that you could experience what is Montreal and the circus and the nice and groovy music we have around here. So I hope you enjoyed. Seriously speaking, there will be a lot going on tonight, so I really invite you to stay until the end. There will be other circus acrobats and numbers, so don't miss them after the desserts. And, well, I will start with a couple numbers, because, you know, I promised you during the opening ceremony some updates. So here are the updates I wanted to share with you. You may have access to the screen and see them. And so we were actually 829 speaker or sessions. So that's the total number of presentations that were given during those 3 days that we are just finishing. There were actually 861, it's hard without any control here, 861 attendees, so registered attendees, 861, those are the numbers. And a lot of you actually embarked on this app. So I'm really happy to say that almost 50% of you use the app and actually design their own program and specialized schedule. So this is very cool. And that enabled us to get a lot of feedback. Actually, we have close to 400 comments and feedback appreciation from you. This is very nice. And at the end, we do get a good grade. You can see on 10, we have an 8.6 or 8.5, which is not bad. And I think the food really helps, the venue definitely. And there may be a couple of you that were disappointed by having no shows in your session, and I think I explained that during the opening ceremony. Unfortunately, some people could not make it, sometimes because of visa, sometimes for other reasons. Usually they do actually warn me, and I take good pride at putting that into the program, but sometimes they don't, and I will send them personally a little note on that. But nevertheless, those were the bad comments we received. So overall, I think you enjoyed the presentation we had, and you can see that the distinguished lectures and the coffee breaks were actually very popular. This is what I can see from my stats. And we have as well some good ratings on the couple presentation that actually made the mark, and you will see later on some prizes and awards that will be given. So this is possible because you, again, use the app a lot, or the program, online program, and I want to personally thank you for that. I'm probably the one that does not use really the app per se, and so does Natalie. You will see that later on. We use other tools, but nevertheless, this is something that I believe helped us a little bit being greener. So you see in the program that we try to have you download, for example, the proceedings electronically, saving a USB key, saving some electronic waste. We avoid printing some paper copies of the program and the proceedings, so again, saving on the trees and things. So thank you for being with us on that. That's really appreciated. We had other conference initiatives that were to be a little bit more eco-friendly, I would say. So I'd like to just highlight a couple of them. You will see that all the cutlery and glasses you use were reusable. We didn't use any one-time disposable objects. That was a request we passed to the hotel, and thank you for them for complying to that. That was greatly appreciated. We managed the food very savvy, and you would be surprised we were really on target, so I'm really glad the hotel was really helpful on that. And any leftovers were given to charities, so that's great too. And we had some guests that were welcome at the airport on Sunday, so that they end up on the shuttle, so to save again on the gas and greenhouse gas emissions. And the delegate bag that you do have is actually in that same vein. You have details in the bag, I believe. And finally, as committed, we will be sponsoring or actually reimbursing 50% of your emissions by a subsetting program, and that will enable a lot of tree planting in Quebec and Canada to compensate for the jet fuel that we use to gather. So one note, I'd like to as well acknowledge some support we received. Here is a happy volunteer that helped us. She's a PhD candidate, and she's wearing I need to mention that the lanyard was actually just a lanyard from my university. They said, well, that's great. We give them to you, but give at least half of them back to us if that's possible. So if you can help me with this, we'll have some bags at the end to collect the lanyards that you have around the neck if you don't use them, but you can keep them, you're welcome to. And the communication system that they use is actually coming from one of our industrial partner, Ears, and this is a product that communicates in noise. So on that green note, I have some stats that I want to share. That's my last slide, and this is a green curve that was really intriguing when I first saw it. And actually, this is what we call the Congress registration statistics. So what you have on the x-axis, on the horizontal line, is the time in month. And what you have on the vertical axis is the number of abstracts we received. So can you guys guess when the deadline for the first deadline for the abstract was? That's a little quiz here. So yeah, if you have good memory, you can remember that was December 1st. This is right here. And we had to extend, we felt we could extend the deadline, and so we gave an extra deadline. You can feel that in the graph too, I guess. So this is really one lesson I learned here during that Congress organization, is that everything is ruled by the Pareto rule. So 90% of us waited until the last 10% of the time to submit the abstract, right before the deadline. And that's exactly the trend. You do have that there. So I'll just finish on those two notes. As a Congress organizer, this is really something that is freaking out. This is freaking you out. You don't see any activity, and suddenly you have that spurt. So you have to consider that. The second thing, which is really, I think, more hopeful and really giving me some hope, and it's a point I want to share with Malcolm. I think that anything we want to do, together, and I mentioned a little bit about the climatic challenge that we do have to fight, and I think all those can be done if we group together, but we need deadlines for that. And that's on that note that I will leave you. We'll have another actually entree, so that's the second entree that is coming up. You can hear that, and we'll be coming back in a few half an hour for the award ceremony. And you see here the awards that will be distributed amongst the attendees. And so that's coming soon. Thank you very much.